Hi, good evening everyone, and welcome to Project Learn, a Reskill and Spark AR initiative aiming at upskilling tech enthusiasts on emerging AR technology with the help of workshops and hackathons and building a highly engaged Spark AR community. Through these workshops, you would be taught how to build AR effects on Spark AR Studio and with features that enhance the experience of Facebook and Instagram users. My name is Askar Khan, and before we start the workshop, I'd run you through a small presentation to share the purpose, flow, application, and benefits of being a part of this program. As I mentioned, Project Learn aims at helping you kickstart your career in the domain of augmented reality by training you in the technology. The program structure is divided into three broad stages. In the first phase, we'll walk you through Sparkia Studio and teach you how to create your first AR effect from scratch, which involves importing assets, canvas, face tracking, patch editor, and generating test string. In the second phase, we'll move a step further, teaching you about advanced filters and share with you AR Spark AR policies before you finally submit your AR effect. Submission of your effect will get you a meta certification, access to resources that will help you prepare for the hackathon. In the final phase, we will host hackathons at your college level, and at pan India level, you will be rewarded and recognized for your efforts and contributions. Before we move further, I will quickly introduce Sparkia Studio to you all. Sparkia Studio is a tool used by global community of creators and brands to create and share AR experiences using Facebook family of apps. And augmented reality is an interactive experience which digitally enhances what can be seen, heard, and touched in the real world. At the moment, we have over 600 million people using AR on Meta apps. Let's have a quick look at what's happening in the world in the field of AR. To give you a brief insight on how AR is being used worldwide, we have all come across these face filters on Instagram where we can add a mask on our face. This is done using the face tracking capability. IKEA, the popular Swedish chain of home furnishing stores, uses AR to help their customers choose the right furniture for their home through the word tracking capability. Similarly, while QR codes are now normal to scan, we are also able to scan pamphlets and business cards using target tracking. Similarly, body and hand tracking, the latest capability introduced, offers utility for fashion and e commerce brands, allowing users to try on an outfit digitally before they click purchase. These are a few effects I am sure some of you have tried using, like changing of hair color when you scream or a phone call from a celebrity. AR also plays an impressive role in escalating your gamifying experience by mapping effects with facial expressions, gestures, and head movements. AR has played a crucial role during the pandemic in bringing the world to your drawing room by emphasizing on the moment, making the content much more interactive, enjoyable, and memorable. Having said this, what happens to the effect I have created? Well, the effect can be published on your Instagram user page, in the stories section, in the reels, and guess what? Your effect is available to the audience worldwide to use and experience. A pertinent question that arises is, how does this program help me professionally? There are various ways in which you can use your AR effects to your advantage. You can monetize on the platform by building interactive AR effects for brands and creators. You can become an AR UX researcher, AR developer, and an educator. You can leverage AR in your career by identifying and solving problems. You can take the augmented reality career further into learning VR and XR. With so many advantages, both immediate and long term, I'm sure you all will make the most of these workshops. We had shared a download link for Sparkia Studio with you in the email. I hope you have downloaded it. In case you haven't, please do it before we begin the session. I would now like to introduce the mentor for the session, Shivani Deshpande. Shivani is an electronics and telecommunications engineer. She works as a full time augmented reality developer Shivani specializes in web AR, in-app AR, and social AR. Hi, Shivani.
Hello. Hello everyone. Hi.
So before we start, I would like to show you what we are going to learn today. So this is the AR effect we are going to learn today, and Shivani is here to teach us. So over to you, Shivani.
Thank you so much. Hello guys. My name is Shivani Deshpande and I have been working on Spark AR since last 3 years now. I started in end of December 2019 and I with the first effects I did I remember were the color effects or which are known as famously known as filters, the ones where we can change the color of the camera. So from there on, I started learning and developing AR effects slowly and uh, with time. And currently, I have been working as a full-time AR developer, and I have made AR effects, professional AR effects for brands like Zivame, Cold Stone Arabia, and so on. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you some of the AR effects that I have created in the past for brands as well as for myself so that you understand what kind of creativity is possible in Spark AR. If you ask me, I would say anything and everything is possible in Spark AR. It's just use your imagination. But we'll just take a quick look at all these AR effects and then move on forward. So I'm going to show you some effects that I've done to for you to understand how it works. And if you have some questions regarding anything related to AR or Spark AR, you can just write in the comment section. Okay, great. Um, so there's something known as your AR portfolio, which is provided to you by Spark AR itself. I'll show you how to do that later on. So here are some type of effects that I have done and which you can make too once you start working on Spark AR. So this is one of them where you can use your camera to move around in your area in your room and find some cups or some game elements, and you can just tap on the screen and you can catch those game catch the cup. This is one of the effects I've made for Cold Stone Arabia, and it's a game effect where you have to aim at the cups and throw in your ice cream scoop. So game effects are something you can make in Spark AR. Moving on, target tracking effects. So what we did over here was we had life-sized cutout of this exact same piece, and that was also something known as image tracker. So what happens here is when you point your camera towards the image, AR effect starts, it triggers. So this is also something that can be and is done in Spark AR. Moving on, we have things like randomizer effect. So this one was for Zivame. What you can do is you can have those randomizer effect games that you see a lot on Instagram, I'm sure. Then there's you can get wings. You can have 3D wings appear behind your back and look like you have gotten those wings, and make them move and animate to create something creative effect. You can have AR filters, or you can also color your hair using Spark AR like we have done over here. You can have color effects like this one, which is known as color filters. So that's also something that can be done. You can segment the sky. So this is something I did very recently. I segmented the sky, which is I cut out only the portion of the sky and made an effect on it. So it looks like real jets are flying over you in the sky, and then the sky turns into the colors of our Indian flag. And you can also see some confetti falling the from the sky. You can also make something known as escape rooms. So this is something I did. What does this do is it turns your surrounding into a virtual escape room, and you can use your computer as your I'm sorry, you can use your phone as your eyes, and you can move around and look at the escape room and find clues, and like tap on the screen to collect the clues to get out of one room and move to another one. This is also done in Spark AR by me recently. Moving on, this is another game effect that I developed using face tracker. So what face tracker does is it tracks your face, and it can align any kind of 3D objects, sound files, 2D objects to your face tracker. So today what we are going to do, so today what we are going to do is today we are going to use the face tracker to make this AR effect. Okay, let's begin. I'm going to open my Spark AR studio. If you guys haven't downloaded it yet, I would suggest you do that. And then we will see what it has to offer us. Thank you, Jivesh. And if you have any questions, or if you want to tell me about something, or any doubts about what I'm teaching right now, you can just type that in the comments section, and I'll read all of the comments after we are done with the tutorial, and I can answer them. Okay, I'm going to share my screen again now. I hope this is visible. Yeah, it is visible. Okay, so now I'm opening my Spark AR. So when you open your Spark AR Studio, this is what you get. This is the first landing page of the Spark AR software, where you have three options over here, which is blank project, sharing effects, and video calling effects. So there are two different kind of effect use cases that can be done over here. Number one is sharing effect, where you make an AR effect which can be shared over reels, stories, messages, DMs, etc. And then there's another one which is known as the video calling effect, which can be used when the user is video calling someone via Instagram or Messenger. So there are two kinds of effects that can be done over here. And blank project is just a blank slate that we get, where we can add our own use case for the effect, and we can build the effect from scratch. This is what we are going to do today. But before we go there, I would like to show you some of the templates that have been given to us by Spark AR. So these are very helpful templates. What happens is they have already given you a whole structure. You just need to do a few changes and understand the algorithm. This is the logic of the AR effect, so that it helps you learn quicker. So for example, here there are two types of games. These are relatively new templates. They weren't available before. I think they are available in the latest software update. So what you can do over here is you can click on these effects, and a pre-made effect will be visible to you. So what you can do is you can just check out what all is used here, what is the logic, and then this can help you make your own AR effects. They are like a kickstart. There are a lot of them. There are games over here. Then there is 3D vehicles template over here. There's one using there's a depth color overlay one. This is also very relatively new. This is done using lidar. And then there's we can make effects using audio also. So for example, over here, this one is for that. And then we can have target tracking, like the one we saw some time ago, body tracking, hand tracking, group video calling effects. So there are a lot different kind of templates available over here, which you can use or try and make your own. So moving on, we won't be doing that. We'll be starting from a clean slate. We'll be opening blank project for our effect. And when you open blank project, this is what you get. So let's look around a little bit and understand what Spark AR Studio is. So you see this big space over here. This is known as viewport. You will be able to see all the assets and 3D or 2D objects that you use for your AR effect over here. And then over here we have simulation. So what happens over here is we can see how the AR effect is going to look in real time on our devices. You can change your devices as well. So you can have um, different type of iOS devices and Android devices. So our screen size and ratio will change according to the phones. So it gives us a better idea of how the effect will look in real time. And moving on the right side is a properties panel. You will get to see the properties of the object that you're using, and we'll go through that in some time when we start using making our effect for sure. Then we have a scene panel. Over here you can see there are already a few things added. For example, there's a device, and so we can change the device from Samsung Galaxy S2 to iPhone 13 Pro. Then we have a camera, there's a focal distance and a few lights and you can see how the light has been selected in the viewport once we click on it. And so is the ambient light, and here is the directional light. Okay, moving on. There's also a microphone for AR effects where we use audio to trigger the effect or to use it in effect. Moving on, we have a assets panel over here. What happens in asset panel is whatever assets that we use, asset comprises of, you can say, 3D objects, audios, 2D objects, image sequences, materials that we use for our 3D object. All these are assets that we are going to use for the project are going to be displayed over here. So you see there's a small plus sign on the bottom right. When you click on that, you get an option to import these assets from either your computer, or if you have any animation, texture animation, or a color LUT. Color LUT is something that you use for color filters. And then there are a few other options over here. All of these are the assets that you can use. And then there's something known as asset library. So let's just check out what this asset library is. Okay. Okay, when I click on asset library from over there or over here, there's a small icon for asset library. When I click on it, I come to this asset library where you get basically thousands of free assets to use. You have everything from various type of 3D objects for your AR effects to sound and music to pre-made patch assets. These patch assets have been uploaded by other fellow AR creators and developers, and all of these are very useful when you make AR effects. So I would request you to just go there and check it once when you're making it. And then there are a lot of textures, there are blocks, there are script packages, a lot of free stuff that you can use for your AR effects. This is a very important asset library that we have over here. Okay, so moving on, you can see below the asset library icon, there is a test on device icon. So what test on device icon does is it generates a test link for your filter, for your AR effect, as well as it sends the AR effect to your mobile. So currently, as you see, we have this warning that there is no experience type selected because we opened a blank project, and now we'll have to choose between if we want to make a video calling effect or if we want to make a sharing effect. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the project properties, which is at the bottom left, and click on that. And I'm going to go to change project properties. Over here, as you can see, we have no experience selected. So we can just add an experience. We are going to do sharing effect today, which consists of Instagram camera and Facebook. Done. So now when I go to test on device, you see I have two options. One to test the effect on Instagram and one to test the effect on Facebook. Moreover, you can also send this AR effect to the Spark AR player, which you can download on your mobile through Play Store or App Store. And you can connect your device to your computer and send it to Spark AR player if you don't want to test it on Instagram or Facebook. Moving on, below that we have a publish option. We'll come here when we are done with our effect. So we'll just look at this later. Now let's go look at some of the 3D objects or the different kind of objects we can use for our AR effect, and just just take a small overview of what all we can do. So we are going to our scene panel, and in the scene panel, if you can see, there's a small plus at the bottom right. Just click on that. There are other ways to open this list as well. You can just right click over on your scene or on the patch editor. That's something also we are going to learn later. Let's move over here first to the list of the 3D objects that we can use. So over here, first four are different types of trackers. So what these trackers do is they identify the tracking target, and they track and they then give out a signal that you can maybe now start triggering the effect, or they track different points on your face. So for example, face tracker, what face tracker does is it tracks your face and different points on your face. So you can make AR effects like makeup effects, um, tattoo effects, effects enable you can say the one that we are going to make today, it has whiskers, and what happens is when you smile, the whiskers start moving. So the face tracker detects smile gesture, and then that animation can start taking place. This is one example. In the similar way, we have a plane tracker which tracks a plane. And then there's a target tracker, like the effect that we saw earlier with target tracker, where the target can be recognized by SparkAR and effect triggers. That's something that happens with target tracker. And then there is hand tracker to track hands, etc. So today we are going to be using face tracker. And then moving on, so what I'll do now is I'm going to insert this face tracker in my scene panel. So this is the first step. The first step to making any effect is choosing the kind of tracker that you want to use to make that AR effect. So I'm going to insert this over here, and now you can see in the properties panel, which is in the on the right side, you get different properties of this tracker. So you can see if this is enabled to front camera or back camera or only to the users, etc. You can also extract the texture of the face tracker. That will be the texture of your face because it's tracking just your face. Then you can track multiple faces. So tracked faces you can just change over here. You can make it invisible or visible. That's basically it. And then layers. So you can layer different objects in front of each other to get desired effect. That is also something I'll show an example of soon. But for now, we'll just keep the face tracker on layer 0, which is the most closest layer to our face. And if you see in the viewport, there's this, if you can see it properly, there are these 3 directions on my face, and those are basically X, Y, and Z axis. Since face tracker is a 3D object, it has 3 different axes, that is X, Y, and Z. Moving on, now second part, while making an effect, after you decide on the kind of tracker you need, is to decide what you want to do inside of that tracker. So for example, there are various other objects that can be the child to the parent group, which is the tracker. And those are, you can have, there are various 3D objects like this plane. I'm going to insert the plane. So now you can see the plane has X, Y, and Z axis as well. And it can move around X, Y, and Z axis, or rotate or resize in these 3 axes. How to do it? So there's something known as manipulators. They're on the top section of the screen. So you can change the position using manipulators in X, Y, and Z direction. And yeah, and then you can also rotate it. So this one is rotation of the object of the plane. You can rotate it anyhow. You can also just put in your values over here if you're sure what your values are. I'm just going to do 0, 0 for everything and 1, 1 for the scale. Then there is, you can also change the scale of this plane. Yeah, I'm sorry. Uh, yeah, you can just change the plane of the scale. Okay, so this is what manipulators do. So I'm just going to delete this for now so I can show you other objects that we can use. There's a null object which is after the plane 3D object. So what null object does is it acts like a container to group all the different kind of 3D objects. So when you're making like a very big or very big file, very big effect, very complex effect with multiple 3D and 2D objects, you can just group them differently using a null object. And then you can you can import 3D objects from either your computer, from a third party application software, or from the SparkAR asset library. And then there is face mesh. So what face mesh does, it is a 3D face model that responds to your facial expressions, which are tracked by the face tracker. So I'll just show this to you. I'm going to insert it in my face tracker, and now you can see this is on my face, and it's moving along with my face. You can close the eye. If you don't want to track the eyes, you can just uncheck this, and also the face. Yeah, so this is used for effects like a makeup AR effect, or for tattoos, or many other way masks that you want to make, so things like that. Okay, moving on. These were some of the 3D objects that you can use. There's also 3D text. So I'm going to insert the 3D text in here, and I'm going to use my manipulators to move it around. So you can see it has a depth, so that's why it's 3D. So what you can do with a text is you can, as you can see in the properties panel, there is a text option, text node. So you can just type something and it will be visible on your screen. You can also use dynamic text, for example, your current city or your current value. Just a second. Date. So you must have seen those effects where you get to see the real time date or day or the city that you're in. This is how you do it. So this was 3D text. Similar to 3D text, we also have 2D counterparts of them. So those are here. So like we had plane, which had x, y, and z directions. It can be moved or tinkered around in those directions. It had depth. Rectangle does not. Rectangle is a 2D surface consisting of x and y directions. So I'm going to insert it. And if you noticed, when I inserted a rectangle, a canvas automatically was inserted as well. So like we need null object for grouping all the 3D objects, we need a canvas to group all the 2D objects. So here's our rectangle. As you can see, it cannot be moved in the Z direction, just around your screen. And yeah, we can just try. What we can do is You can see the width and height in the properties panel of the rectangle. Click on that. You get an option to fill width and fill height. So what this does, it fills your whole camera screen. So we are going to use this later on today, and you will get to understand what exact deal is. Moving on. So just like we saw the 3D text some time ago, there is also something as 2D text. And here's the 2D text. So what 2D text is exactly what rectangle was. There's no Z direction. You can only tinker around with it in X and Y directions. This one is famously used for effects with dates and times and days, etc. So for example, over here you can, in the properties panel, you can go to the dynamic text, click on insert, and you can have day of the week. You need to remove the text. Day of the week. You can have different kind of fonts. um, you can scale to fit, so you can see how long or how short you want this to be, the size, and you can move around. You can change the colors. You can change it. Maybe I want it to be white, or yeah, you can change color of this. So this is what 2D text does. You can have different type of texts in it. So you can have hello. Okay, moving on. I'm removing the text and the canvas. Let's see what else we got. We have few lights. So these lights, there are different kind of lights which react to our materials differently. So there's a spotlight which can act as a spotlight, like a spotlight on a stage. There's a point light which can be used to simulate something like a lamp. And then there's an environmental light. So what this does is it simulates real world lighting. And there's a directional lighting which is already present in our scene panel. And there's also one ambient light which provides each object with constant and same amount of light. So these are various type of lights we use. And then there is speakers if you want to play some sound, or some background music while you're making a game. You can use these speakers. Then there's a particle system. So what particle system does is it emits a large amount of 2D, a large amount of planes, and you can use this to make snow, or to show raindrops, or to make small lamps kind of thing, something like that. Okay, I let's move on. And what now we can do is I'm going to show you some material properties, and then we can jump into making an effect. So I'm going to insert a face mesh. We saw this some time ago, and let's try to get a material. So create a material. This is how it looks. So right now the shader type here is standard. So what happens in a standard material is you can see these dark patches. So light emits in a way that you see dark and light patches. It gives a more 3D effect to the face mesh. Then there is flat, where the light that we are going to use in this project does not affect at all, and it is plain white, no depth. And there is physically based. What this does is it can give metallic effect and shiny gloss effect. So if I increase the metallicity of this effect, of this material, and I look in my properties panel, there's something known as opacity. So what if I lessen the opacity? It looks like a little bit like plastic. Mm, it looks glossy on my face. You see the light. Okay, I have reduced the metallicness and I'm reducing this. Yeah, can you see this on my face? The light is reacting on my face. It looks like it is my face is a wet surface. A light is emitting. Yeah, one of the things you can do using a physically based material. Okay, so now I have given you a very basic overview of what all Spark AR has, what features it has, and now let's move on to making the AR effect. During this time, we'll get to know a little more about other things and how to use these 3D objects. I am just going to quickly look at the comment section if there is any questions right now. Okay. How to use manipulator. Okay, so the using manipulator is actually very easy. um Let me just show you, Sakshi. Okay, yeah, so the manipulators are over here in the top corner, in the top, in the middle. There is one to adjust the positions, there is one for rotation, and then one is for scaling. And for example, I'm taking a plane. And what I'll do now is I'm going to drag the plane inside of the face tracker. So it moves along with my face. Okay. And now what I want to do is I want to resize it. So you can see over here, just click on it and you can resize it, or you can change the positions. You can have it over here like this. Okay. So this is how you use manipulators. Moving on to today's effect. I hope you guys saw the demo video that Askar showed some time ago. And what I'll do is I'm going to show it to you again. Mm, I don't want to save this project. So, yeah, this is the AR effect that we are going to make. It is a very simple effect. And as you can see here, my background consists of cute cats and it's constantly changing. So that is an animation that we are going to learn to make 2D I'm sorry, 2D animation. Then second thing that we're going to learn is segmentation. As you can see, the background is segmented and I am visible but my background is not. So I have been segmented from my background. This is known as background segmentation. These two are something we'll learn at the later part. Also, this pink line that I have around myself, this is also something we are going to learn in the later part. In the first part, we are going to learn how to keep these, how to, get these assets into the SparkAR library. I'm sorry, get these assets into the asset panel and put this on my face. And also what we are going to do is, so when you look carefully, when I smile, the whiskers move. Yeah, so when I smile, the whiskers move. So this is something we're going to do today in the first part. We're going to animate our whiskers according to the face gesture that we are going to do, which is smile over here. Yeah. So let's begin. I'm going to go and choose a blank project. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select property type, sharing effect, done. Okay, so the first things first, we need to get a face tracker. So I have a face tracker with me. Now what we are going to do is we are going to get these assets that we are going to use today into our assets panel. Um, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the bottom left, the plus size button, import from computer, uh, textures. So we have to download these textures, but just let's look at these textures and see what they are. Right. Okay, so here's our textures in here. So there are a few textures. There are, if you can see, there are like one, two, three, four, six PNG images of whiskers, one of ear, and a few backgrounds. So what we do in Spark AR is when we want to animate something, we cannot use a whole animation and put it inside. We need to cut that animation into image sequences and then upload those image sequences in Spark AR, which will then in turn make animation. So this, I'll show you how to do this soon. Let's go back to our Spark AR. I'm going to need a plane for my ears. Insert. So now what I'm going to do is, the plane is not moving along with me. I'm going to drag it inside the face tracker. So now it's moving along with me, but I don't want it on my front face. I want it over my head. So I'm going to use the manipulators and I'm going to drag it upside. I think this is fine. And I'm going to turn them into a rectangle instead of a square. So I'm going to click on my scale and on the Y direction pull it this way. So now you can see this is a rectangle. Okay, next. So next we need to do is we need to get a material for this plane. Let's just name this as cat ears. Okay. And now I'm going to select material 0. Let's go to material 0 and name it cat ears. Let's name it ears matte. Okay. And right now this is shader type is standard. We would want the shader type to be flat for the effect that we're doing. Flat. Now once we do flat, we have a various other options over here, one of which is texture. So now we need to choose the texture that we are going to use for this plane. So what I'm going to do is click on new texture. It takes me to my computer. I'm going to go and select ears. So as you can see, the ears are here. Now let's just adjust it so that it is on my forehead. Let's go back to ears and use the manipulators. Bring it down a little bit. Maybe we can also scale it up, make it bigger. I mean, I think I like this. Okay, so now they are here. What we can also do is, if you notice at the top left, there is an option of video. So what that does is you can use your computer's camera to try it on yourself real time, or we have real time simulations over here, different types. So you can just try it on them to understand how the effect will look. So we are going to use FaceTime. We're going to use our camera. Moving on. So now my ears are looking good. I can still change them, change the place and direction if I want to. But I think this looks good. Okay, moving on. Second thing, now what we need to do is we need to have another plane on our nose for our whiskers. I'm going to go back and get a plane. Okay, now I'm going to get it in my face tracker. But if you can see, the shape of this plane is a little weird. That is because of the layering or the depth of the first plane that I have. So what I'll do is I'll go to ears mat, and there is an option which reads advanced render option. I'm going to go there. I'm going to uncheck depth test and write to depth. Now you see this is perfect. Let's go back to our new plane. Let's name it whiskers, and let's change the scale a little bit. I'm going to stretch it in the y-axis. Okay. Okay, the next thing that we need to do, I'm going to keep the rotation 0. Okay. Okay, so the next thing that we're doing is we are getting the texture for this plane as well. So we're going to click on material, create new material, go to the new material and name it viscose matte. And change the shader type to flat. So once we have this, now we have to have a texture. So now we don't want a texture, we want this to be a animation because the whiskers will move when I smile. So what we are going to do over here is we are going to choose the file. You see this whiskers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if we click on new texture, we cannot import all of these files. I'm going to cancel this, and I'm going to go back here and click on new animation sequence. So once I have new animation sequence, I can go to the texture over here, click on new texture and select all of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Open, and you can see this, they are moving and they are looped. You can remove the loop, it stands still. You can randomize it. Okay, these are different things you can do. So now I think we have 6 frames and FPS over here is 25. Let's change it and see what happens. I like 10. Okay. This is too slow. Let's keep 10. No, we don't want to randomize it. Okay, this is fine. Now let's scale it properly. And for that, we are going to go to a plane again. And we're going to use our manipulator to scale. Yeah, this is nice. Now what I want to do is I want this to stay on my nose. So one way to do it is using patch editor. So now let's see what patch editor is. What I'm going to do is click on view. Click on view, and we have an option to show patch editor. Click on that, and here you have this one more screen. So what happens over here is here you can make logic for the effect. Basically this is visual coding. You can do scripting as well, but for beginners who are not that used to scripting, this is a very good way to do it by visually scripting it, visual coding. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to take my face tracker and drag it over here. You see we get 3 of these squares which are known as patches. And what is happening over here is the face finder is finding the face, and now my face has been tracked. So there are various nodes over here: face, the 3D position of the tracker, 3D scale, and 3D rotation. Now what we are going to do next is we are going to connect a nose patch. So I'm just going to click on this and drag, so we get this list of various different patches that we have. There are some for animation, there are some for face landmarks like your cheeks, chin, eyeball, eyebrow, etc. So there are some for logic as well. So I'm going to go to my face landmarks and select nose. Add the patch. This fat patch is connected to the face tracker. I want my whiskers to be on the nose tip. So I'm going to go to my whiskers. And you see the position option. I'm just going to click on the node. Now I've brought the whiskers into the patch editor. And I'm going to connect the nose tip to it. Now see, now this is on the nose tip and you cannot move it anymore. You cannot move the whiskers anywhere else because it's now fixed to our nose. Okay, moving on. I want to change the color of this whisker because uh, as you notice, the whiskers are grayish and the ears are black. So let's go to the whiskers matte. And you see the option color over here. I can use it to change this to black. Yeah, this looks good, right? Okay, now I hope this is clear. If you have any questions till now, I'll just be checking the comments. I'll request you to just post in whatever question you have. I'll try to help you with it. And then let's move to the next part. Okay. I'm going to ask you to just drop in any questions you have until this point. Okay, so I'll be moving on to the next part. Okay, so let's move forward to the next part where what we're going to do is we are going to animate the whiskers such that when we smile, they start moving. So first thing I'm going to do for this is very simple. You see this, we already have the face tracker in the patch editor. So I'm going to connect another patch to the face tracker from here and I'm going to go to interaction. In the interaction, we have smile. Add this patch. So what happens is every time we smile, it gets a pulse. It gets a pulse over here telling the systems that yeah, the tracked face has smiled, basically. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to connect this to pulse so that we get a pulse every time I smile. For example, just keep looking at the on off over here. Okay, so now when I smile, we get a pulse and it gets a tick mark. So that's how it works. Now we're going to connect this to a switch to turn on when I am smiling and turn off when I stop smiling. So over here also you can see the pulse when I smile and when I stop smiling. Okay, so that's how this is going to work. This is the basic logic we are making. And then I'm going to connect this to a loop animation. So what loop animation does is it will keep playing one animation in loop constantly. Okay, so now if you see, if I smile, it is enabled. If I stop, it's not working anymore. So yeah, this is basically it. Now we are going to use just one more patch. Over here, we're going to connect progress to transition. What transition does is it will transition the frames that we have from point A to point B. So there are various types of signals that we can give. This is vector 3 if you want to animate the position or the scale or rotation of an object, but that's not what we are doing. We are transitioning a animation sequence. So for that, we'll go to number, and there are 6. So let's just start 0, 6, end 6, and that's it. Let's try how this looks. I'm going to connect this. I'm going to go to my whiskers material, and I'm going to see the name of the animation, which is animation sequence 0. I'm going to click on this, and we have this option in advanced as current frame. I'm going to get it to the patch editor and connect it over here. Okay, let's try. Okay, see, it's moving. Stop. Stop. Okay, so this is the first portion of our effect, that is getting cat ears on over our head and using smile interaction to actually animate the whiskers that we have. So if you guys have any doubts till now, I would please request you to put it in the comment section. If there's something you don't understand until now, let's just take a look at it again. Just let me know if there's any questions. I'll wait for 5 minutes, then we can move on to the next part, which is a little more advanced but fun. Okay, moving on. Okay, moving on. Let's move forward. Now, the next part of what we are going to do is we are going to segment our background and create a pink line around us. So for that, we are going to understand what segmentation is firstly. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to my camera and let's just bring this all here. Okay, I'm going to extract segmentation. So there are 3 different types of segmentations that we have, and we are going to understand what all these 3 are at first. First is person. So I'm just going to type person, seg. Okay, so this is one texture that we have. Second one is, I'm sorry, second one is hair. Okay, so when I click on hair, I get this alert that it is not supported on Facebook. So what we need to do is we need to remove it from Facebook. So change project properties. You can see now the Facebook option is unchecked, and now we can use our hair segmentation. Let's just name it so that we understand. Okay, moving on. Let's go to the last one, which is skin segmentation, and I'm going to skin seg. Excuse me. So now let's understand what these segmentations do. To understand that, we are going to need one rectangle. So when we click on rectangle, the canvas also gets in the same panel automatically. See the canvas. So now we are going to do is we're going to fill the width and fill the height. And now you see this, we again have depth issue. So there are 2 things that we need to do. First one is we need to layer it properly. So I'm going to drag this above my face tracker. So now this is happening, which is perfect. So now the canvas is behind our whiskers and ears. Next part is, let's understand how to do this segmentation. I'm going to make a new material, go to that material as seg mat. Okay, perfect. Take it to flat, make a shader type as flat. Now you see there are these options of environment and alpha in the properties panel. We are going to click on alpha. So these segmentations are alpha masks. So I'm going to go here, choose a texture for the alpha as person seg. So now you can see I am segmented, but my background is visible. But I want to do background segmentation and not person segmentation. So I'm just going to invert this. Now you can see my background is gone, but I have been segmented. Now you can do various type of things in the segmentation. You can have animations, you can use different kind of colors like this. And yeah, this is what the segmentation does. Let's see the second type of segmentation that we have, which is hair seg. So now you see I have put hair seg, but hair is not been segmented because I have checked the invert option. So leaving hair, everything else has been removed. The background is removed. I have been removed. Only my hair is left. So let's just remove the invert option. And now you can see my hair has been segmented. To understand better, see, you can see the hair of all these models that we have. And yeah, you can change the color over here as well. And this is how hair segmentation works. You can use hair segmentation to make hair color, different kind of hair colors. There's a blend option available over here, so you can make it more realistic. So now my hair looks green or maybe red. So this is how segmentation is done. And if you notice, if I move forward, my whiskers are get invisible. To tackle that problem, we are going to go to our whiskers mat and uncheck the right to depth and use depth test. Okay, so now this looks good. So moving on, we have seen background segmentation, person segmentation, and hair segmentation. Lastly, we have skin segmentation. So as the name suggests, skin segmentation segments your skin, and we're just going to try this. So now I have red skin. You can again use different kind of animations and colors. So now I have like green skin totally. This is how skin segmentation works. Moving on, I'm going to delete the hair and skin segmentations now. I'm sorry. And we're only going to keep the person segmentation. Okay. Oh, and one more thing. We derived all the segmentations from our camera. And in the similar way, we can also extract the texture of the camera to use in effects if we need. Okay, so now I have only kept person segmentation. Let's now use this. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a color of my choice. And I'm going to turn the blend mode to alpha. So now you can't see anything, right? Yeah, I'm going to choose a little, yeah, this one. What we are trying to do over here is we are going to try to create the border. Let's name this as border. This is border mat. Okay, and now in the alpha, I'm going to choose my person segmentation. But this is not what we want. We want the background to be segmented. So check on invert, and now the background is segmented. Awesome. Now this is the first part to what we have to do. Now second part is overlaying the second background segmentation, which was the animation with all these cat pictures over this one. So I'm just going to do person seg 1. I'm going to go and get another person segmentation, name it person seg 2, and now we are going to control D, duplicate this border and name this as cat bg and make a new material, cat matte, name it flat shader type and just uncheck. Okay, moving on, let's take the second alpha mask that we have, invert it. So now you see the first alpha mask, the pink one, has been overlaid by this one. Why? Because this one is ahead of the border rectangle that we have. If I keep it backside, so this will happen. This is why layering is very important. Now what we need to do is we need to have a nice line. No? So let's go to the person segmentation texture and let's play with the mask size a little bit. So you can increase the mask size or decrease the mask size as you want. I'm going to keep this as this much. Yeah, this is nice. Okay, perfect. So this is the pink line. This is how you do the pink line. Again, if you have any questions regarding this one, let me know. Now let's move to the last part, which is using animation sequence for our background. Let's go to cat matte and click on new animation sequence and new texture sequence, bg 1 2 3 4 5. Open. Okay, so now we have this, but we really don't want this to be fast, so frames per second, let's keep 10 or keep 5. Slow and nice. So yeah, this is how our effect will look like. When you smile, the whiskers start moving and there's this nice background and we have pink border around us. This is a very simple AR effect that we have created. Now let's see, how do you test it? So there's something known as test on device, as we saw sometime earlier. Use that and I'm going to send it on my Instagram. Wait for it to load. So now we have sent a notification to Instagram. So now I need to open Instagram to test it. And this way I'll be able to test my effect. So I'll go to my Instagram and I'll go to the notifications option. So I don't know if you can see my screen properly, but you get this option here, try preview. Click on that. So you will have continue, and once you continue, you can test the effect on your phone. So like over here, I got this effect on my phone. So now that it can see it can recognize my face. There is a small face of mine you can see. So yeah, this is how you test your effects, and this way I can test the effects only I can test my effects, right? Nobody else can. So for that, what you need to do is there's an option of test link. So you can copy the test link and send it to your friends, your family, or your clients if they want to try the effect, and they can also try this effect on and see if they like it and see if you need changes for the effect, etc. So this is how you make an AR effect. Now what we are going to do is we are going to understand how to upload this AR effect and then go through a few AR policies, Spark AR policies quickly, so that we understand what kind of content to make and what not to. Okay. Let's move on. So there was an option for publish. We are going to use that and click on publish new effect. If you want to update a effect, you can just click on update existing effects. So publish new effect, upload. So it's uploading. Let's wait. Okay, it has been uploaded. It has been uploaded to my Spark AR hub, and this is how the form looks like. You need to fill a few details, like you need to give your effect a name. So whatever I give here, cute cat, for example, so that will be visible over here, and then you can decide if you want them to be on Instagram or Facebook, and you can there are a few other things that you need to fill, what kind of effect this is, and then you need to upload a demo video for this effect, and then you can just submit it. And once you submit the AR effect, um, it will be reviewed by Instagram, and then your effect will be live on your the effect will be live on your Instagram account. Now, this is how you make an effect. You ideate an effect, you make an effect, and you upload it. And once uploading is done, it will be reviewed by Instagram in 24 hours or more, depending on how complex the effect is. And then it will be available to use on your preferred Instagram account. Moving on, while uploading these AR effects, though they are all very good, fun to use, and very good marketing tools, there are a few things you cannot do. We are going to just take a look at them. Okay, I'm going to share my screen again now. I had stopped sharing. Um, okay, I'm sharing my screen now, and just let's look at them. So what I've done is I have already opened these policies, and that you can go to the Spark AR website and check out these policies. They are not really those that intense or difficult. They are basic stuff. So if I had to round out about what things are allowed and what not, just think that if a 13-year-old can use your AR effect, then that AR effect is something you can upload. So, few things is the AR effect should not lag, should not stutter, should not take a lot of time to load. So the file should not be very heavy. Then text and voice should not, whatever you use in the AR effect, the text, the visuals, etc. They should not navigate you away from Facebook group of apps, which is Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, or Portal. You cannot use external website ke links, yeah, barcodes, yeah, go visit this www at this, and you cannot you make a link over there or ask people to go to some other website. That is not allowed using an AR effect. Then you cannot name two effects as same. Both the effects should be different. Like you cannot name cute cat and cute cat, though effects it should be different. Then for demo video, your demo video should accurately demonstrate what's exactly in the AR effect, and nothing should be hidden. And you should not write something extra on your demo video, and you should not use videos of someone else or stock videos for that matter. You should have your own face on it, or your own, it should be your own video that you have shot using the test link. Then there are some, you can just go through these. It's not very difficult. Some things you should just be sure of is you should not use or promote content which is disrespectful to someone or violent to someone, or it is sensational, or it has guns or knives or any other sorts of weapons, or it promotes the use of alcohol, tobacco, or drugs, etc., or anything illegal. All of this is obviously not allowed, and the content must not be adult or sexual in nature. That's also very important, and it should not discriminate between any kind of people, or harass or provoke any kind of people, or ethnicities, or race, religion, etc. It should not be disrespectful. And yeah, then you should not promote gambling, and it should not be spammy. It should not have QR codes or URLs or other scannable codes which take you to some other website outside of Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, etc. So yeah, these are some. Then you cannot copy someone else's work, third party work. The idea should be yours and original and creative. So these are very basic policies that we have to follow while making AR effects for Instagram. And yeah, I think that all sums up into what we need to do and what we don't need to do. I'm going to stop sharing my effect, and I'm going to be waiting if you guys have any questions, any doubts, or anything. You can just type in the comments if you have any questions or doubts. Moreover, there's another thing that I need to show you. I'll just do that, a small thing, not very difficult. I'll just do that. Until then, you can type in your questions if you have any. I'm going to share my screen. Let's go back to our Spark AR Hub. So now that we're done with policies, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you to Spark AR Hub. So these are the effects. So if you make effects, you get to see them here. Just a second, I'm so sorry. Yeah, so when you make effects and you want to check if the effects are accepted and how many people have used it, you can do that using Spark AR Hub. So here's the list of all my effects that I've ever made, and you can see the review status. This has been accepted. There are some which I haven't even submitted. So all these statuses you can see here. You can also check the platforms that I've used. So if I have shared it on Facebook as well as on Instagram, or just on Instagram or just on Facebook, all of this can be visible over here. Then who it is uploaded by, when was it uploaded, and when did I last update it. All of these things can be visible over here. Moreover, there are other few actions. You need to, I think, see this properly, because this is something we need to do later on. So over here you have a few options. First one is to see the insights. So what happens over here is you can see the insights of how many people have used this effect, and if I click on this, you have these options of last 28 days, last 7 days, lifetime. So 11.5k people have opened it, and how many have captured it, top languages or top countries and cities where they use this effect. All of this is visible over here. Then another one is to copy test link. So I have uploaded my effect to now to review by Instagram, and I want my friend to see it, or I want my client to see the effect. So I can just copy test link over here, and I can send the test link to one of my friends or to my client, whoever needs to see it. Then we have copy preview link. So once the effect has been developed and accepted and it is visible on your profile, you can copy the preview link from here. and this is the effect ID. So if I want to submit, if I have some complaints, or if I am in a competition and they ask me for effect IDs, I can just copy them from here and give it to them. And the last one is to delete the effect. If you don't anymore want the effect to be online, you can just delete it. Moving on, we have a lot of other things in the Spark AR hub. In the home, we have home, and we have insights. In insights, you can see in engagements. So for example, lifetime, from the time I started making AR effects, this is the kind of impressions I have. And then I can see effect wise which effects have been used more, which effects have been used less. I get all of that stat over here. All different platforms. On Instagram, how many people have used it, on Facebook how many people have used it. All of that can be done over here. Then there is gallery, where you can see AR effects of other great AR creators. I don't know why this is not loading. I think some poor net. Yeah, over here. Yeah, it's done. So you can see various other type of effects over here made by other developers, other creators. Then you can also see creator portfolios from here of other creators. Yeah, these are some things that you are useful for you on Spark AR Hub. Moreover, you can click on this icon in the extreme right and click on portfolio to go to your own portfolio. So when you have developed a lot of different kind of effects using different capabilities and you want to send your portfolio to a client, you can just check over here and you can just share your portfolio link. You will get to see all your portfolio, all the effects that you have made over here. So that's it, I think. Now we can go to the questions if we have any. I'm going to stop sharing. Yeah, let's wait for your questions. And if you are not really, if you need some time to get questions, you can ask me later on. You can ask me on my, you can just message me on my Instagram, or reach me out on LinkedIn or Instagram, and I'm happy to help you if you need any help. So yeah, I think that's it, Askar.
Thank you so much, Shivani, for a wonderful session.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, everyone, for joining for the session today. I hope you have learned how to create your first AR effect. I've shared the submission link in the comment section. You can create your AR effects and submit it, publish it on the Spark AR Studio, and submit all the details in the submission form. So we look forward to some great effects from your side. Thank you and have a good day. Thank you, Shivani.
Thank you so much.